Some of the family members of 4 University of Idaho students stabbed to death inside this off-campus house in 2022, showing up Wednesday to court in Boise, Idaho, to face the man who admitted to the killings.
The defendant will plead guilty to all 5 counts in the indictment: burglary, felony, and first-degree murder, 4 counts. Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Bryan Kohberger entered the guilty plea just 1 month before his quadruple murder trial was set to begin.
I, like most everyone else, learned of this plea agreement Monday afternoon and had no inkling of it beforehand. Prior to that time, I was under the belief that this case was proceeding to trial.
The plea deal, a move that allows Kohberger to skirt the death penalty and that at least one victim's family has condemned.
This isn't what we should be doing. You don't deal with terrorists, and you don't deal with people who kill you kids in their sleep. So, we'll never see this as justice.
And without a trial, key questions about the gruesome murders still linger.
I'm not liking the fact that there's no guarantee here that this individual is going to share details.
The prosecution giving an overview of evidence they would have presented at trial.
The state submits that the evidence that I've given just a quick overview of would show that as the defendant has just admitted and pleaded guilty on November 13th, 2022, he then killed Manny Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Santa Cruz.
I sentenced the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
Bryan Kohberger sat emotionless as the judge read his sentence. The 30-year-old former PhD student of criminology sentenced to life without parole for murdering 4 University of Idaho students in an off-campus home in November 2022.
No parent should ever have to bury their child. This is the greatest tragedy that can be inflicted upon a person.
Victim impact statements covered a range of emotions, from forgiveness,
Bryan, I'm here today to tell you I have forgiven you,
to remorse.
Why me? Why did I get to live and not them?
To unadulterated anger.
The truth is, you're as dumb as they come.
Speaking directly to Kohberger, the sister of Kaylee Gonzalez called him stupid, clumsy, and weak.
If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your ass.
Starting Tuesday night, crowds camped outside Idaho's Ada County Courthouse for the chance to attend Kohberger's sentencing hearing, gathering around a shared grief.
I feel like it's important to be here for the families of the victims.
Kohberger was given an opportunity to address the court, but only said 3 words.
I respectfully decline.
One prosecutor says he hopes the community can now heal.
We have finality and conclusion, not just for the families, but for everyone who suffered because of this.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
The truth is, the scariest part about you is how painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud.
The families of the 4 University of Idaho students murdered by Bryan Kohberger gave powerful and emotional statements in Kohberger's sentencing hearing today. Criminal defense attorney Jana Spilborn joining us now to discuss. You just heard those comments there, Jana. Listening to these statements today, it was gut-wrenching. What was going through your mind, seeing and hearing from these families?
It was hard not to be emotional just listening to these families, but I was really struck by a couple of things. First, how unemotional Bryan Kohberger was. He didn't blink, he didn't sniffle, he didn't shed a tear. He was a deer in the headlights. It's almost as if it were a performance, like he tuned these poor people out. And the other thing that really struck me is they were truly trying to do with their words to him what he did physically to their loved ones. And because he showed nothing, I feel like this poor family almost got smacked in the face by his lack of emotion. But the good news is in this case, the victim impact statements were not going to change the ruling. The sentence was going to be what it's going to be. So for the families and the friends who spoke, just getting it out hopefully brought them some sense of peace, because Lord knows they're not going to have an explanation as to what really happened to their friends and family members. Maybe never, but certainly not for a long time to come.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Bryan Kohberger had the chance to explain why he targeted the victims. He declined. Could he ever make a statement?
I got this cold chill earlier today when I thought, you know what? Is this guy so cunning, so conniving, so evil that 5 years, 10 years, maybe when his own parents are dead and buried, is he going to figuratively knock on a court's door and say, you know what? You want to know what happened? You want to know why I did it? I'm ready to tell you, but you're going to have to reduce my sentence. Is something like that going to come down the pike? I wouldn't put it past him. I also don't think it will work. But darn, these families deserve to know. And you could tell from their statements, they are dying to know. And that's another sad part of this story.
We know Idaho police have released some investigative reports now. Post-sentencing, the judge decides which documents may be unsealed. Do you think that based on that we could ever get a clearer picture of what happened? I know the judge already acknowledged that a motive may never be known.
Yeah, and I would agree with that too, because if we had evidence of motive in any of the sealed documents, I think that would have come out, right? Bryan Kohberger maybe would have made a statement. He is playing that so close to the vest that I got to say, what has been sealed and what may be unsealed will simply be more evidence of his guilt, not motivation of what prompted him to do it. He might take his motive to his grave. In other words, I don't think there's a diary of Bryan Kohberger among the sealed evidence, so I don't believe we're going to see that.
And in the meantime, what an enormous loss for these families. Criminal defense attorney Jonna Spilborn, thank you for joining us again tonight on the National News Desk.
Thank you.